Are you ever just too tired to cook? You want a healthy meal, but you just don't want to cook it? If so, I have got you covered because today we're making 3 recipes that involve no chopping. We're cooking everything in the Instant Pot, so really no cooking. And we're going to meal prep it, so that means for the rest of the week, all you'll have to do is reheat and eat. If that sounds good, go ahead and hit the like button down below and let's get started. So let's go ahead and start off with breakfast. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you probably know I love oatmeal for breakfast. Not only is it nutritious and a great way to start the day, but it's also insanely easy to cook in the Instant Pot. Now you can use either rolled oats or steel cut oats for this, whichever you have on hand. There is a little bit of difference in the amount of water that you will use and the amount of time it gets cooked in the Instant Pot, depending on if you go with steel cut or rolled oats. But I will leave all the different recipes and cooking instructions in the description box down below. Today we are going to use our rolled oats, and for a 1 person's serving for about 5 days, I usually cook 2 cups of oats. Now, of course, you could make more or less depending on your needs, but we're just gonna start with 2 cups of oats and water. And now we just press porridge, which I have preset to 1 minute. If when you press your porridge button, it doesn't show 1 minute, you can actually just adjust the time by using the plus and minus buttons. So just change it until it's set to 1 minute, and then it will actually save that as a preset, so that next time you go and press the porridge button, it will remember that you used 1 minute last time. Actually, if you want to learn how to use your Instant Pot buttons like presets, so you don't always have to adjust up and down the time when you're cooking your favorite items, I actually made a little Instant Pot tutorial. I'll link it up here and in the description box down below. You can check that out after this one. And now once the Instant Pot is set and cooking, we can relax. You can watch some TV, read a book, whatever you like to do in your free time. Okay, now that the Instant Pot has finished, we've just heard the beeps to let us know that it is done. I'm actually going to let it sit for another about 15 more minutes, and that's to let some of that pressure release naturally. If I were to turn the nozzle and release the pressure right away, I would of course get a spray of starchy water, and we want to avoid that. So we're just gonna let the pressure come down naturally for about 10 or 15 minutes. And once that has happened, then when we turn the nozzle to release any remaining pressure, we won't get that spray of starchy water. So basically, you can just go back to whatever you were doing for the next 15 minutes. Now, plain oatmeal is pretty boring. I don't think that I could eat oatmeal every day if it was just plain. So let's go ahead and jazz up these oats. There are a lot of different oatmeal flavor combinations. I actually have a short playlist with a couple different oatmeal ideas if you are looking for new ones. Usually though, I will just use frozen fruit. I like to buy either the really large bags of frozen fruit from Costco or wherever I find a really good discount or deal. And I usually use about 2 cups of fruit. So we're just gonna add these right into the oatmeal. I'm also gonna add both chia and ground flax. Now these are both optional, so of course you could just use one of them if you prefer, or both, or neither, but I do like to include them because of course they have some health benefits, such as omega-3s and antioxidants. Now we'll just add the oatmeal to our Tupperware and let it cool down a bit while we rinse out the Instant Pot liner and get ready for our next recipe. The next recipe is going to be an easy tofu veggie rice. My husband loves rice and I always used to just cook it plain every time. But then I was like, how can we boost this up a little bit, make this a little more nutritious, and also make it into a whole meal so that I don't have to cook something separate if I don't want to. So of course we are going to start with rice. This is just a regular short grain rice, and you do want to make sure to rinse your rice. I like to rinse it 3 times. Now, the white rice to water ratio in the Instant Pot is very simple to remember. It is just 1 to 1. So if you're cooking 1 cup of rice, you need 1 cup of water, 2 cups of rice, 2 cups of water, etc. And now we're going to add in some frozen veggies in here. Like I said, I don't want to do any chopping today, so we're just using frozen veggies, which are already chopped and ready to use. I personally like to use frozen corn, peas, and edamame when I cook rice, but really any frozen veggies that you like with your rice will work here. And we're just going to use about 2 cups of frozen veggies here. You don't need to add any more water or do anything else to it. Just go ahead and add those right into the Instant Pot. Now for a little extra protein, we are going to add some crumbled tofu on top. Now this isn't going to be like a super gourmet recipe. Remember, we are going for super simple and lazy meals here. So we're not even going to season this tofu before we put it into the Instant Pot. We're just going to cook everything first, and don't worry, we will add a sauce at the end to make it more delicious. And since we're not chopping anything today, let's just go ahead and do it rustic style and break it into chunks with our hands. Now, I always use the rice button when I'm cooking white rice in the Instant Pot. I've never actually changed the time because it's already set to the perfect amount of time for automatically cooking your rice. Now again, this is for white rice, not brown rice. If you are cooking brown rice or another grain, do make sure you check the Instant Pot cooking timetable for the correct amount of time, and I will leave that down below. So again, you can go back to relaxing now, do whatever needs to be done around the house, and when we do hear the beeps that the Instant Pot is done cooking, again, we're just gonna let it sit for another 10 to 15 minutes after that to let it come down from pressure naturally. So once you hear it beep that it's off, you don't actually need to come back and check on it. Just go ahead and continue relaxing whatever you're doing until that extra 15 minutes has passed. Now this is a full complete meal. Like I said, we've got the rice, we've got the veggies, we've got some tofu, but it's gonna be very, very bland because there's no sauce on it. So let me show you just a quick little sauce that I like to whip up to add to these rice bowls. And I'll leave a couple other recipe options in the description box in case you wanna check out one of those instead. So we're gonna add low sodium soy sauce, rice vinegar, garlic powder, powdered ginger. And if it needs a little bit of sweetness, you can always add about a teaspoon of maple syrup. And then we'll just mix this up and add it into 3 separate small Tupperwares so that we can have 1 sauce for each of the meals. And just go ahead and add this on after you've reheated your rice. Now, if you wanted to make this more of a sushi inspired rice bowl, you could also add some wasabi and pickled ginger and serve it with some seaweed. Or of course you could do a completely different dressing, like even a tahini based dressing if you wanted something totally different. Again, I'll leave some recipe options in the description box. And again, we just need to quickly rinse out the liner and get ready for our last recipe. For our last recipe, I wanted to do a simple soup using Orzo pasta. I love cooking pasta in the Instant Pot ever since discovering it a couple months ago. Now this recipe calls for onions, garlic, celery, and carrots, which of course you could chop all of these by hand, or you could simply pick up a bag of frozen veggies. Now, of course, this doesn't have garlic in it, so you could just add in a couple whole cloves of garlic if you really didn't want to chop them, or you could even just substitute with garlic powder instead. So we're just gonna add everything into the Instant Pot, close the lid and set the timer and continue relaxing. After 10 minutes, just release any remaining pressure by switching the nozzle over. Now this soup does call for fresh lemon juice, and I happen to have some in my freezer because I like to squeeze all of my lemons at one time and just store the juice in little ice cube trays. Then I can pop out a couple cubes if I want some hot water with lemon, or for instances like this. But if you don't happen to have any fresh lemon juice in your fridge or freezer, they actually sell refrigerated lemon juice. You could pick up a bottle of this, or you could just, cut 1 lemon for today. It's the only cutting you'll have to do, but that is totally up to you. So lastly, we'll just add in our lemon juice and our fresh spinach. And oh my God, this smells amazing. So delicious, you guys, and obviously so easy. I also just want to point out here that even though I've cooked all of these on one day, you definitely don't have to do that. You could use either the rice or the soup recipe for a dinner on any weeknight when you're feeling lazy. Just put everything in the Instant Pot about 30 to 40 minutes before you want to eat, and you'll have a nice hot meal ready to go with very, very little effort. Or of course, you can do it all in one day if you prefer, and just do a full lazy meal prep day and not have to worry about cooking for the rest of the week. Either way, make sure you bookmark this video for the next time you want a healthy meal with very little effort, and make sure you check out this one next if you're looking for even more easy Instant Pot meals. And with that, let's eat plants, and I'll see you guys next time.